Sorry for that intro, guys. Anyway, this is the free-to-play dude, and welcome again in Epic 7. And today is gonna be a special video, because we are gonna reviewing my account. And for those who doesn't follow last RTA seasons, we got to top 100 RTA, as you can see from the frame. And this is a 100% free-to-play account. So yeah, this is how a competitive free-to-play accounts looks like. Now, before we go into this, I wanna warn you, you're gonna see some weird stuff, but I already tested it and it works, so believe, guys. So the secret for a competitive good account, in my opinion, is to build a strong core, and the other units you have, you build around it. So I'm gonna show you first the core of the account, and for me the core is my Faithless Lydica. So she is my fastest unit, and she's triple S. And these are the stats. She's 290 speed, 124 effectiveness, and 67 crit chance. Now you may say, that's really low crit chance. And yeah, that's true, but this is the fastest I can get her. So I need to work with that. And to make sure she crit enough, I give her this artifact, the Midnight Bloom, so she have 16 more percent crit chance, and she's up to 83%, which is good enough for me. I don't lose the fight if I don't crit, so yeah, I prefer a good speed and a little chance to not crit. And the artifact is good even for the other units, so you're gonna understand now how I build my units. So she is the core of the account. What I mean by that? I mean, the other units are built around her, so the other units are speed tuned with her. She is 290 speed, and she boosts 20% combat readiness, so I need to make sure the other units are at least around 230 speed, to make sure they get boosted more than 100%, because the RNG can screw me up. And this artifact is an important factor too, so you will see now. My second stronger unit in the account is Arbiter Wildred. He is 232 speed, to be speed tuned, 4330 attack and 294 crit damage. Only 84% crit chance. And you may say, yeah, that's really bad, but I usually use him with the Lydica, so he gets 16% crit chance from the artifact. And you may say, yeah, they can just ban the Lydica. And yeah, that's right, but I prefer this chance to not crit, instead of lowering his attack or his crit damage. Cause even if he doesn't crit one unit, I just don't care. He attacks 2 times, so I'm gonna wipe them anyway, but if I lower his attack or crit damage, I risk to not one-shot units. And that's worse, so yeah, I prefer him this way. So from this point on, all my units, you're gonna see them with low crit chance, just cause I built around that artifact. So these are the 2 course unit, and from now on, let's start from the top. This is my Holiday Euphine. I just don't use her. She's too slow and I can make her work, but sometimes I can use her against Ditsy or Bazaar teams, but I generally don't use her. Ilias, I don't like her, I don't use her. Chiron is on some kind of spare gear. I can use him, but he's not optimal, so I prefer to not use him. He has decent attack, decent crit damage, and the immunity set, so I can use him to counter some cliff teams with the Arbiter Wildred, but no more than that. Surin, I don't use her, she's on spare equipment. I can sometimes use her with the speed imprint, if they pick my Wildred or my Shuri, but just for that I don't use her. Elfet, yeah, I don't use her. Tenebria. I tried to use Tenebria a bit, but I can't make her work, cause she's too slow, and if I make her fast, she's too squishy, so she doesn't synergize well with my teams, cause she is just too slow. Akates, I don't use her. Tamarin, I use her everywhere in PvE, and she works pretty good like this. She is on decent equipment, nothing special, and Rod of Amaryllis plus 15, so yeah, she works like this. Luna, I use her everywhere in PvE. I use her in Labyrinth, I use her in Wyvern, I use her in Banshee, I use her everywhere. And she works everywhere. She is really strong. She's one of my favorite units. And I just can't... I'm sad I can't use her in PvP, but yeah, she doesn't work in PvP. But she's very good in PvE, so you better use her. Rose, I just use her in... what's the name? Expeditions. Yeah, I use her in Expeditions. And yeah, just there. She's decently fast, but no more talking about her. Kise, I don't use her. Says, he is the second 5-star I got in this account. The first one was Destina. And I used him everywhere. In the arena for the cleaves with Oxlot. I even used him in the Wyverns, but now I don't use him anymore. It just doesn't work, too many shields, too many Orius and stuff, so yeah, I can't use him now. And he's not good in RTA, because I don't use Oxlot anymore too. Ceres. Ceres is my second faster unit, she is 280 speed, and only 68 effectiveness, that's quite low, but I tried to make her crit chance high enough, because I usually use her with Sidon, and I need her to crit to all 4 unit to boost Sidon to 100% combat readiness, so I need a high crit chance. So 70%, plus she attack with a strong element, so she get 15% more, and with the Sidon imprint she get to close 100%, like 98% crit chance, so that's good enough. And she is actually on my third fastest speed gear, but the second one is on Bazaar, but with her base speed she's faster than Bazaar. So yeah, that's it for her. Flan, I don't use her. Seaside Bellona. So she's a fast Seaside Bellona, she's 230 speed, and as you can see 85% crit chance again. So yeah, I didn't use her tanky, I want her to just blow the opponents. So she's gonna place the S3 and then the S2 when they attack, so hopefully I just wipe them with 2 attacks. She's on Rengar, of course, plus 21 only, and 36% effectiveness, because I use her in PvE too, I use her in Wyvern, and so I need this effectiveness, and I use her in Labyrinth too. So she is a PvP and PvE unit, and she is my third strongest area DPS unit. She used to be the second one after Arby, but everyone just countered her with Ruana, so I don't think it's a good idea to invest hard on her. This is my Ditsy, she is a speed Ditsy, she is 236 speed, and I'm not using her anymore, I just prefer other units. As you can see from the equipment, Novre Forge, I used her to counter heavy Night Steam, but now I don't use her anymore, I prefer other units. And talking of other units, this is my Fairy Tail Tenebria, she's one of my stronger units now. She's SS imprint, and she's 261 speed, so not the fastest, but she has a ton of effectiveness, 162 effectiveness. She can even lock down Ruels and stuff like that. She's really strong. And I think she's one of the stronger units now in RTA, so I really invested hard on her. And I'm gonna get her to SSS imprint once the Tenebria banner is going out, so she's gonna be even more effective. Angelica, I use her everywhere in PvE, I use her in Wyvern, I use her in Labyrinth, and yeah, she's just strong, and I only use her there. Sometimes I tried her in Guild Wars, but she doesn't work, she just die, she's not tanky enough. And plus 18 Rodor Amaryllis, so yeah. Lilibet, I used her against Arbis, but I couldn't get her fast enough and to deal enough damage, so I just ungeared her. And I use other stuff now. Falconer Clury. I used her last RTA, I used her quite a lot, and she had the Fairy Tail Tenebria gear, but now I just prefer Fairy Tail Tenebria. She's just stronger. She has area provoke, she has area anti-buff, I think Fairy Tail Tenebria is just stronger, but Glory is a good unit anyway. I see her a lot in RTA. Baiken. She's SSS imprint. I used a lot of the special imprints on her, because she was my CR booster before I got blessed with Lidica. And I just like her. She's just one speed slower than Lidica, but she boosts quite a lot more, 25%, and she doesn't suffer Purgis and stuff like that. But yeah, I just use Lidica now. She's stronger. Vildred is one of my most used units now in RTA, is SSS imprint. 12 speed imprint is huge buff, and I have him at 217 speed. He's not quite speed tuned with my team, miss like 10 speed to get speed tuned, but he get boost when somebody dies, so eventually I just kill one unit with my other units and then he cut, so I think this is good enough. And you also have 4100 attack and 270 crit damage. You can see the crit chance now is 97%. He have a better crit chance and he is on 21 Sword of Summer Twilight. I use this artifact because it's cool. I can use the other artifact that ignore 20% defense, but this is cooler.
Are you sure about
there's a Vildred here, so I use this one. Aetheria. She's very fast and she's on the Unseen Observer artifact, and I just use her with my Dark Corvus in Guild Wars. So I'm gonna boost him and I'm gonna make sure he one-shot units one by one. And that's only use for her. I just use her in Guild War. Landy, yeah, a lot of people likes this unit. I tried her with a counter set and Bloodstone, but she didn't work out and I don't like her. I don't think she synergizes well with my teams. I try to cleave the enemy units and she starts with 0 passive, so she's not optimal to cleave at the start of the battle. She's just stronger once the battle go on. So yeah, I prefer to use other units. And this is my third faster unit. It's Bazaar. Yeah, I still use Bazaar. He's on Abyssal Crown plus 21. And he is on my second fastest speed gear. You can see here 21 speed. This is a faster speed than my Lidica, but is on an effective set, so yeah. And this is a good piece too. 20 speed, but crit damage, so yeah. You gotta work with what you have. And he is at 169 effectiveness. He can just push almost anyone, even Ruels or high effect resistance units. And yeah, he's a good unit. But he get countered too easy from Lilias, Charon, stuff like that. So people are using more fire units now, because SSB is not that strong anymore. But I'm pretty happy with this. He's fast enough, and he can even stun units with Abyssal Crown, so there's the RNG factor too. Vivian, I don't like her, I don't use her. Roana. I just use her in Guild War and sometimes to counter SSB picks. She's not speed tuned with my units, she is 199 speed, but she is on not optimal gear. The only thing that she have good is the effect resistance, 90%, and 20 more from the Shimandra staff, which is useful in Guild Wars, because it's gonna work even on my Dark Corvus, which have already high effect resistance, plus 20 from this, so she is very good to counter some units, like Fairy Tail Tenebria or SSB, and yeah, just that. I just use her against these units. I usually don't use her in PvP, because I prefer my mate Chloe. This is my Ambitious Tywin, is speed tuned, of course, with the rest of my teams. She's 238 speed, barely acceptable effectiveness, but high defense and high HP, so he's pretty beefy. He's on Horus, and I just use him to add more control for my teams or to counter some units like Sage Ball and stuff like that. He's a very strong RTA pick, and I even use him in my Guild War defense. He's very good, and RNG is very strong in defense. So yeah, this is my Crimson Armin. I used her a lot of time ago in my arena defense when I used Baiken, because she was speed tuned with Baiken, but now the Lidica push a little less than Baiken, so I can't get her fast enough. But I sometimes use her in Guild War against Arby with SSB, so I can use SSB and her. She protect the SSB and the SSB just counter Arby, kill him, and she revive and does nothing, because I'm protected. So she's a decent pick. She fall quite a bit in RTA. I don't usually use her in RTA, I prefer other units. Watcher Shuri. He is almost speed tuned with my team. She is decent attack, decent crit damage, 100% crit chance this time, and he is on this new artifact to increase his damage, because I'm using the 2 portraits I have on other units, so he's gonna use this one, and he can one-shot quite a bit of units. He did like 17k damage with the ult, something like that, without attack buff though. So he's strong, and I usually use him when I need speed imprint. So if I pick Vildred and then I pick him, cause my opponent is gonna contest me with other speed imprints. So yeah, he's good for that. Sage Baal is my favorite unit. Look at him, he's just crazy, this dude. He's decently fast, he's on Leda Violin, speed, immunity set, and I use him to counter some speed cleaves with Lidica and stuff like that. He even got buff, so he is more strong now, and he can cycle turn pretty fast, so he's a really good unit, I love him. Really low effectiveness, but I don't have good HP speed necklace and rings, so yeah, he's gotta work with it. It's pretty tanky though. 1500 defense and 17k HP, so he can survive a lot of blows, so he doesn't get one shot by assassin seeds and stuff like that. My maid Chloe, one of my best units. She's 241 speed, she's even in my arena defense, I just love her, she just do too much stuff. And she is speed tuned with my F Lidica and with my other damage dealers, so she is gonna get boost and she's gonna go before my other damage dealers, cause she is faster. And the other units are gonna get attack buff and they are gonna cleave even more strongly. So she is just so strong. Pretty low effect resistance, but I put her on Wanderer's Potion Vial just to cleanse debuffs against things like Luri and stuff like that try to lock down one unit at a time, but she doesn't work against area debuffs. For example, she suffers a lot Bazaar and stuff like that. But she is just one of my best unit. And as you can see, I'm using these 3 pieces of equipment. They rolled a lot high in speed, this one and this one too, so I was pretty lucky with that, and yeah, I use her a lot. Apocalypse Slavi, I use her in my Guild War defense, and I use her sometime in RTA, but she's not feed tuned with my team, she's very slow, and yeah, that's the reason why I don't use her. I just prefer to use faster unit that goes after my pusher, because all synergize together, but she is very tanky and she hit really hard, so she can counter some squishy cleave teams that try to cleave me in RTA, but I just prefer to use something else. Dark Corvus is one of my best Guild War unit. I use him literally in every Guild War. He's just too strong. You pair him with the Isiria and with the Roana, and you just kill units one by one, and they protect him. So he's very high in effect resistance, he's very high in HP, and he's very high in defense, 15k defense too. He's just on godly gear, And I use him with the Portrait of the Savior, actually, because this way I make sure I can one-shot through elves, even if there is an Aureus in the team. So I think this is a stronger build. And yeah, he's very strong. I don't use him in RTA because he's too slow, he just died to the frenzy, so he's not a good pick in RTA. Martial Artist Ken. I can't get this guy to work. I don't have good equipment for him. And I just use him on spare equipment and try to counter some team like with RB or stuff like that. But it doesn't work really well, even because he's on plus 15 Sigurd side, so yeah, it doesn't heal enough. We already seen this. Bloodblade Karin, I don't use her. Briar Witch Syria, I use her in my arena defense. She's one of my stronger units, and she is speed tuned, she is 237, and the reason she's faster than Arby is to counter things like Elina, cause if my Lidica go, then the Elina put the buffs on, she can remove the enemy protections, and then my Arby can cleave them. So she is a counter even for that, and she has decent effectiveness, 53%, decent attack and decent crit damage, and 89% crit chance, yeah, cause I use her with the Midnight Bloom artifact. She's on Portrait, and I use her to counter a lot of things in RTA, such as Blood Moon Haste, Riolets, Last Rider Crows. All units that put buffs on the team can be countered by this unit. And with the new buff, she can survive a lot more, so yeah, she is even stronger. My win rate in arena is up to 40% in defense with her after the buff, so yeah, that's quite good. Archdemon Shadow. She is one of my favorite units. She is only 213 speed, so she is speed tuned only with Wildred, because Wildred is gonna give her 12 speed imprint and she's gonna go before the Wildred. So he can cleave stuff like Arby, Tempesturin, Charon, stuff like that. And I really love her. She's on decent effectiveness, decent effect resistance, high defense, decent HP, and she's on Lela Violin. I'm trying to get a decently fast speed with HP necklace, because for now 9 speed is quite low. Yeah, I really love her, she's just too strong. I'm winning a lot with her in RTA. Oxlot, I don't use him anymore. Sidom. Sidom, I used her a lot in last RTA season, but now I'm not using her quite much, cause people just counter her with Politis and stuff like that. Yeah, she has a blue piece of armor, it's a 18 speed piece, so I can get her fast enough to push her with Lidica or with Cerise. And she is on almost maxed out crit hit damage, and 3500 attack, so that's decent enough for me. She is on all 3 distraction set pieces, but they rolled all high, 26% crit damage, this one 37% attack, this one, yeah, a bit less, and this one looks nice too. And she's at 62% crit chance, cause she just needs 50%, so I can optimize her a little bit more, but I'm gonna see what I can do. And this unit I don't use, this one is the last unit I use, Sinful Angelica. She is speed tuned with my Flidica, and I use her just for arena attacks to cleave team with Arbis, and yeah, that's it. That's the only place I use her. And that's it, guys. These are all my units, all the units I use, and the equipments are the same I used in the last RTA season, because I usually don't ungear units, so I hope you can get something out of this. Anyway, I wanna thank you all so much for watching, let me know if you like it, leave a comment for some impression, and yeah, I'll see you on the next video, guys, so thank you for watching, and bye bye!